The House That Will Not Pass for Any Color Than Its Own by artist Mildred Howard is on loan to the Battery Park City Authority in New York City by the Sacramento Department of Airports. Mildred Howard was aware early on that the accomplishments and struggles of her community and most African Americans were untold and important to share. Her art is frequently inspired by personal histories, expressed with everyday materials, and infused with beauty and pride. Mildred Howard creates imaginative places where viewers are made to feel invited in, free to question the status quo, and find inspiration and courage to work for more justice for all. It was important to Mildred Howard that the Statue of Liberty be framed in a doorway of her house. With its layers of meaning and its evolving beauty, the house that will not pass for any color than its own is a place for shared humanity.
Art is really interesting because it takes you on this roundabout path of exploring ways of doing. When I look back on my life, I've always been trying to find out other ways of doing, other ways of thinking and creating. The question that I always ask myself is like, why not? And I think it's the challenge. It opens up new avenues of learning and understanding and exploring. Art does not talk. It doesn't have feelings like a human. But how can I make it speak in a different kind of way to a larger audience? How can I evoke some of the things that I might be thinking about at the time to a level where someone else may ask the same question or come up with something entirely new? So I learn as much sometimes from interacting with material and with those who look at the work as I do during the process of the making. If I just wanted to make art and never show it to anyone, then my voice is silenced. For me, I have something to say. What I have to say addresses a lot of the issues that other people in this country are facing. And I want that to be known. I don't go out to say, oh, I'm going to make this art to do this, to do that, because when I'm making art, I'm also caught up in the moment of the making. Will this work with that? Should I use this color or should I change it to another color? Should I make it 10 feet or 20 feet high? Or should I do something small? It's what can I do that will have the biggest impact? Because it doesn't always have to be huge. And how can I make something that crosses all disciplines, but still be art? I wanted to use the two colors, red and purple. First of all, aesthetically, I think they look good together. And purple and red are both like royal colors. And I did all this research on historical California letters about people coming from the East Coast to the West Coast during the gold rush. So I took fragments of these letters that were handwritten and blew them up extremely large and had them mirrored, all the fonts mirrored, that I juxtaposed on various components of the glass, so that when one looks at themselves, not only are you standing in history, but you're standing in the now. You're also looking outside the space at the surroundings. What's outside sometimes is reflected in. In some ways, it's mirror displacement, meaning that you put a mirror and you displaces whatever is reflected into it. In terms of the color, I know that over time, over seasons, color changes. You need light to see color. But what is light when you think about what is it? How does it look on a cloudy day? How does it look on a really sunny day? What happens if a street light is on, and what color is that object then? So these are just a few of the questions that I posed to myself while creating that work.
When I reflect on Mill's work, I'm able to look into a history that is not accessible to me on paper. I'm able to walk into the experience of those before me. I'm able to gain a sense of confidence in knowing that she has walked this walk before as a Black woman. I'm able to understand her fight and reflect on what that means for me and what I need to do. There is a dynamic that happens when you're able to see your face, your experience, and your identity in spaces like museums and galleries, in your environment, and you see yourself reflected in those spaces. And the Black community constantly has to create and recreate those opportunities for us to be seen and recognized.
Black Lives Matter didn't just happen with Trayvon Martin. It's been happening all my life. And one of my earliest memories was Emmett Till. I come from a family of storytellers. I've heard stories that are similar throughout my whole life. My parents talked about coming from the South, what that was like, what it was like being there, and it's both bitter and sweet. So when I did In the Line of Fire, I read in the newspaper that an African-American male had a better chance of going to jail than graduating from college. And those statistics stuck with me. Police brutality didn't just start. We're just now seeing it because everyone has a camera, everyone takes photographs, and the world is changing. The world has changed, and it will continue to do that. What I would hope that others who visit the place would begin to question how they see the world. And hopefully, just hopefully, something in that structure will make them see things different.
Visit Battery Park City in Lower Manhattan and see almost 24 examples of the art of our time, from installations and landworks to sculpture and memorials.